Chapter 1. The Library Encounter. In the heart of the city, where the bustling streets met the quiet corners, there stood a grand library. Its towering facade commanded attention, inviting book lovers and scholars alike to explore its vast collection of knowledge. One sunny afternoon, amidst the hum of traffic and the chatter of pedestrians, Sarah found herself standing at the entrance of this imposing institution. With a sense of anticipation tingling in her fingertips, Sarah pushed open the heavy wooden doors and stepped into the hallowed halls of the library. The scent of old books and polished wood enveloped her, wrapping her in a comforting embrace. As she wandered through the labyrinthine aisles, her eyes danced over the spines of countless volumes, each one promising adventure and enlightenment. Lost in the sea of books, Sarah found herself drawn to a particular section dedicated to ancient history. Running her fingers along the rows of weathered tomes, she paused as her hand brushed against a book whose title seemed to beckon her. With trembling fingers, she pulled the book from its place on the shelf and began to leaf through its pages, her heart racing with excitement. Engrossed in her reading, Sarah was unaware of the figure that approached her from behind, until a voice broke through the silence. "Finding everything you're looking for?" the voice asked, its timbre smooth and melodious. Startled, Sarah turned to find herself face to face with a stranger, a man whose eyes twinkled with mischief behind a pair of wire-framed glasses. "Oh, yes, thank you," Sarah replied, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. "I was just lost in thought." The man smiled warmly, his gaze lingering on Sarah's face for a moment longer than was strictly necessary. "It's easy to get lost in a place like this," he said, gesturing to the rows of books that surrounded them. "So much to discover, so little time." Sarah nodded in agreement, her heart still racing from the unexpected encounter. "Yes, indeed," she replied, struggling to keep her voice steady. "I could spend hours here and never tire of it." "Perhaps we could explore together sometime," the man suggested, his smile widening into a grin. "I'm always looking for a fellow book lover to share my passion with." Sarah's breath caught in her throat at the prospect of spending more time with this intriguing stranger. "I would like that," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Excellent," the man replied, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Until then, my dear, happy reading." With a final nod and a wink, the man turned and disappeared into the maze of books, leaving Sarah standing alone in the library with her heart pounding in her chest. As she watched him go, she couldn't help but wonder what adventures lay in store for them in the pages of the books that awaited. Days turned into weeks, and still, Sarah found herself thinking about the mysterious stranger she had encountered in the library. His image haunted her dreams, his voice echoing in her mind like a long-forgotten melody. Try as she might, she could not shake the feeling that their meeting had been more than mere chance, that it had been the beginning of something extraordinary. Determined to unravel the mystery of the enigmatic man, Sarah returned to the library day after day, scouring its halls in search of any trace of him. She asked the librarians if they knew anything about him, described him in painstaking detail to anyone who would listen, but no one seemed to recognize him or know anything about him. Frustrated and on the verge of giving up hope, Sarah was about to leave the library one evening when she spotted a familiar figure standing by the checkout counter. It was him, the man from the library, his eyes twinkling with amusement as he caught sight of her. "Sarah," he said, his voice warm and inviting, "I've been hoping I would see you again." Unable to contain her excitement, Sarah rushed forward and threw her arms around him, feeling a surge of joy and relief wash over her. "I've been looking for you everywhere," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with emotion. The man chuckled softly and returned her embrace, holding her close as if he never wanted to let her go. "I've been looking for you too," he confessed, his breath warm against her ear. "I knew from the moment I saw you that you were someone special." Overwhelmed by his words, Sarah felt her heart swell with happiness. Here, in the quiet corner of the library, she had found not only a kindred spirit, but also a love she had never dared to dream of. And as they stood together, lost in each other's arms, she knew that their journey was only just beginning.